What's up, guys? Thank y'all for joining me today on Instinctive Addiction Archery. I'm your host, Jeff Phillips. So glad I could bring you this video, and hope and pray as always you'll find it helpful and enjoyable. Okay, guys, so we're down to the wire. We're almost at opening day of hunting season. Even down here in Alabama, we're getting really close. Okay, so today's video is about your final preparation. All right, what for sure do you need to check before you get ready to go to the woods? I'm going to give you a little bit of what I do at this time. Also, equipment check, guys. I was going to share with you a little bit of insight about a couple of things that people ask me about almost a daily basis. Probably the very most asked question that I get is, Jeff, what kind of glove are you using? Okay, you see this, guys? This is it. You can tell it's been worn a lot. This is a Bear Paw Classic. Bear Paw Classic. Okay, best glove bar none I have ever used in my life, and I've had tons of them. Now, there are some mighty fine gloves out there. There's all kinds. There really are. But for around $20, as long as these last and as good as they are, you cannot beat it, guys. You can't. And guys ask me all the time, they say, well, Jeff, why do you shoot a glove, period? Well, let me explain something to you. I personally like to feel the string. I like to have control of my finger pressure on the string, how much pressure I'm actually putting with each finger, and I like to be able to feel that string with my glove, with my fingers. However, I don't like any discomfort. I do not want to feel that string as in any pain. Okay, I want to be able to shoot, if I want to shoot 100 rounds a day, have no sore fingers. I mean, absolutely zero. This glove offers that, but it still gives me that feel because it is very soft grain leather. Okay, now they stretch out very quick. So in other words, like where I typically would wear a large in, say, Damascus and many other brands, I would order a medium in this one because it stretches out really quick. Once it stretches and it fits you, then you're good to go. It doesn't go past that, but the initial stretch is pretty fast, so you want to order one size smaller. Trust me, I ordered some larges and they just got a little too loose on me. Okay, so I do personally order a medium for myself. But anyway, guys, whatever your size that you normally wear, if you're going to get one of these, go with one size smaller. Now, guys ask me, okay, Jeff, where do you typically get these? Okay, Stick Bow Supplies carries them all the time. Stick Bow Supplies, wonderful guys. But anyway, they have them. Lancaster offers them. There's several others that do, but those are your two main outlets that I have found them anyway. Okay, now, guys, when it comes to broadheads, the second most asked question is, Jeff, which broadhead do you plan on shooting this year? Okay, I don't necessarily shoot one broadhead. I really don't. You know why? Because I'm kind of a broadhead deer killing guru, that I like to test and see results and see what different heads do. But I will show you three, and I actually have one more that I will tell you about. I don't have it in my hand right now, but I will show you three that are tried and true through the years, that flat out put deer down and put them down quick. Okay, that would be number one, the Simmons Shark. Now, this particular head, this is a Simmons Swamp Shark. They label them at 175 grains. However, they come in about 188 or 89 grains. They're almost 190 grain heads. So when I practice, I put 200 grain field tips on when I'm tuning an arrow to plan on shooting these heads, because they do weigh more than the pack says. Absolutely they do. But they're easy to sharpen. They're devastating. And I have killed more deer with this head than any and all others combined. I have. I've even shot deer with these heads out of compound bows. Pure devastation. I mean, it's pretty gory, guys. So anyway, the Simmons heads don't play. They don't. Now, BPA. Of course, the new Omegas are out now. I should be getting some of those pretty quick, that have the bleeders. This is the original Omega that was introduced last year. This is a 200 grain Omega left bevel. Okay, so I love these heads because they're probably the most penetrating head I've ever seen. Bone splitting penetration. These things out of light pound bows will absolutely drive it home. I mean, they are super. They're not cheap. They're expensive heads, but they're precision S7 tool grade steel. the most easy to sharpen broadhead on the market. This is the lay flat technology. So if you want to be able to sharpen your head super fast and easy and get a razor sharp edge, these are the heads for you guys. If you want to spend a little money, get a quality head, the Omegas are bad, absolutely bad heads. So the new bleeder system gives a great advantage. It really does, because I think it's like 94 thousandths thick. I mean, just the bleeder alone. So we're talking an indestructible, devastating head that will not only give you the mechanical advantage, the penetration, but it will give you the blood trails also. So check out the new Omega with the bleeders. It's a super option. Okay, if you don't want to spend that kind of money, guys, along the lines of what a Simmons would cost you, VPA 3-blade. Now, I like these. People say, well, which 3 blades do you like? This is a 200 grain. These do not have quite as wide of a cut, but they have more cutting surface because they're longer. They penetrate. These 3-blade VPAs right here will absolutely 100% devastate a deer, and they have really good penetration. They do. Completely awesome flight. Everything about these heads, they're tried and true. They're super easy to sharpen. You can lay them completely flat down on sandpaper and work them. Man, you can get a razor sharp edge on these really fast. So I love these heads. Now, number four. I can't get them in 200 grain, but my all-time go-to would be a Magnus. Okay. And you say, well, which Magnus do you prefer? Well, I will tell you. I prefer a Stinger Buzz Cut Killer B 150 grain 4-blade with the bleeders. That's what I like. You say, well, why do you like these the most? Because, number one, a ventless broadhead does not make noise in flight. Now, I know it's been argued that they do and they don't. Well, I personally have shot vented broadheads, including Stingers, and I've shot them out of compounds with a little more speed to do sound tests on them. And absolutely, 100%, yes, you can. You can hear the vents out of a speedier bow. Can you hear it out of a recurve or a longbow? No. No, you can't. You're just not shooting enough speed to make a lot of sound difference. No, it's not. So any of them are fine with traditional equipment. They are. But I do like a ventless broadhead if I have the choice. I do. I like the buzz cut because I think you get better blood trails. I think it does more damage, more cutting of the tissue and the arteries and things. They're razor sharp out of the packet, and I love the bleeders. They don't prohibit the penetration at all. So an out of the pack head that you can buy replaceable blades for, even the bleeders, and not ever have to sharpen anything, the Magnus is a wonderful choice, and especially with light pound bows. They are field point accuracy heads. So far, every one of these heads that I have, if you bare shaft tune your bow within reason, I mean decent bare shaft, just decent, these heads will shoot identical to your field tips. They will. So anyway, guys, you need to make sure you have your quiver of choice. Like this just happens to be a Selway. I love Selway quivers. Your bow setup, your string, get you a backup string. Make sure that you have an extra string that is completely tuned 100% to your bow. Put it away, put it in your pack in case something happens and you cut that string. You can slap another one on that's already got your knock height set, that's got everything ready to go, where you will be good to go out in the field. It's not like a compound that requires bow presses and all these things if you do lose a string or a cable. Recurves and longbows, it's easy. Just pack you another string in there and you're good to go, no matter what. Okay, so I love to go through all my equipment check at the last minute, make sure everything's good. And what you want to do, guys, is whichever head you choose, you want to do a flight test. You want to test these heads to make sure that they're going to fly like your field tips do, and that they're impacting the same place that you're looking like your field tips do, even if it's 15, 20 yards. If you can shoot them past that, if you can shoot fairly accurately past that, you'll get a really good idea, because it will show them if they're planing off to the right or off to the left. It will really show that big time. If they're having a tendency to steer, if you will, you'll notice that at further distance. By far you will. So you'll get an idea if they're really flying straight and true and going where they're supposed to. So anyway, guys, I'm going to shoot these for you right quick and show you what's up with my final setup here. And there again, I've got a lot of bows that are set up ready to go, but this is my Oberon, of course. And I am running 45-pound bow. I'm running gold tip warriors. I'm running 50 grain aluminum inserts with 200 grain heads. So I'm running 250 grains on the front. Total arrow weight is a little over 500 grains. All of my arrows are weighing in just a little over 500 grains, especially with a lighted nock. They hit around the 530 range, which is really good for me. I have some identical arrows in a 500 spine that I'm running 300 grains on the front that tune identical to these. Okay, so I can shoot a multitude of arrows out of this setup with the same broadheads. So let's do some shooting, man. Show you what's up with these things. They're totally awesome, by the way. They are. All right, guys, we'll shoot the VPA first. We'll shoot the old standing bear here with the big 3-blade VPA. We'll rock his world. Beautiful flight. Bullet straight. Beautiful flight. The VPA Omega. As well, right there with it. They're just neck and neck. Beautiful flight out of both of them. And finally, the Simmons. I honestly hope I don't hit one of these other arrows because it will completely destroy a good arrow. It will. But they're all flying true. They are. Just a little left of that on purpose. And it's still great. Arrow flight was phenomenal. So you can kind of pick and choose whatever you like, guys. It really doesn't matter. Because I set mine up the same way. I'm practicing with 200 grain field tips with a 50 grain aluminum insert. So that gives me 250 grains up front. That's what I'm running. It's what I'm doing. So, you know, it gives you a really good idea of what they do. And there again, you always want to double check where your field tip's hitting, where your broadhead's hitting. And what I may do, guys, I'll shoot this little closer target here. I'll shoot a field tip, and then I'll shoot a broadhead right behind it. They're all three flying just alike, and hopefully it'll show you that that's what you got to figure out in your setup. Does your broadhead actually fly with your field tip? Does it impact the same way? If it does, you're good to go. So hold on a minute. I'm gonna grab these and we'll shoot this one over here and we'll see what they do. All right, guys, one other thing I want to share with you before I shoot and do this field tip to broadhead little test and demonstration is this arrow holder guy. Check this out. See that? Everybody wants to know what this little arrow holder I've got on my bow is. Look at that. Look at that. That, my friends, is a stop the drop. Best one I've ever tried. It's called a stop the drop. Gary DeCaro puts these out. You can buy them through Big Jim's. You can buy them straight from his website, whatever. But that's what it is. It is called a stop the drop. And as soon as you start pulling, it lets go. But it holds your arrow perfectly in place while you're in the stand, while you got your bow hung on the limb. Wind can be blowing it around, doesn't matter. That arrow's not falling off. When you draw it, it gently releases, silent. So, totally awesome product. A must have for a hunting bow out of a tree stand. Must have. So, all right, so I'm gonna shoot the field tip. And then we're gonna see if the broadhead hits even close to where it does. If there's any major difference going on. This target should really show us that. Okay, that one's in there. Shoot the broadhead. That one's in there. So that shows you that the broadhead is hitting exactly where the field tip does. I mean, they're within an inch of each other. 20 yards, that's the best you're gonna get, guys. I mean, the rest is gonna be in human error in your shooting, but you can bet that the flight is identical, okay? It all comes from bare shaft tuning your bow. So whether you shoot any of these 4 different or any other broadhead configuration that you want to, that I mentioned, it doesn't matter. As long as you do your initial arrow tune with a broadhead weight, I mean a field point weight that matches that broadhead, guys. Okay, in other words, if you're shooting a 200 grain broadhead, shoot a 200 grain field tip. Match it, whatever it is. When you do that, it's not going to make any difference, but you want to be as close as you can. Now, will 10 grains make a difference? No, it's not. Will 15? Probably not. 25 may not even make a difference either, but past that, yes, it probably will, because basically the deflection of your arrow is affected by point weight, how much that arrow is going to flex when you release the bow, for how much point weight you have stacked on the front of it. So if you plus or minus 25 grains or less, I think you're fine. I don't think it makes any difference really, but I wouldn't go past that. In other words, tune your arrow as close as you can to which broadhead you plan on buying and shooting, and you will be fine, guys. So thank you for joining me today on Instinctive Addiction Archery. I love you guys so much. Pray that everything we say and do bring honor and glory to the good Lord above that gives us all this cool stuff to enjoy. Happy hunting.